for day one of BRICS Friendship Cities Conclave 2026. And of course, our final session for today being a very, very interesting one, because the topic that we have right now at the moment is building integrated and low carbon transport infrastructure. On the stage, we have our stage is ready to welcome our panelists and the discussion. So let's get the conversation started. Hence, to do the honors and make sure that the conversation drives in the right way forward, we have our moderator, someone who brings over 20 years of academic research and professional experience in transportation systems, sustainable transport planning, network optimization, and more to come their way. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Professor at Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Bombay, Dr. Gopal R. Patil on the stage. Big claps and cheers for our lovely moderator walking up the stage. A warm welcome to you, sir. Lovely to have you here with us. On that note, let's welcome our panelists. We have 5 panelists here to share their thoughts and views with us on this topic. So first up, we have someone who brings 13 years of experience in smart city development and urban digital transformation, contributing to policy consultation, innovation ecosystems, and emerging urban technologies. We have with us the Vice President at Shanghai Smart City Development Institute, China, Ms. Bie Bihua on the stage. Let's have a big clap for the lady coming up to share her views with us. Coming up next on the stage to share more views and more ideas on this lovely panel, we have someone who leads the public transport theme globally at C40 cities and specializes in sustainable mobility and urban development, including electric bus deployment across Latin America. Joining us on the stage, we have the Senior Manager, Public Transport, C40 Cities, Brazil. Please put your hands together and welcome Ms. Mariana Batista on the stage. Big claps for her as she comes up the dais. Next up on the stage, we once again have someone very special with big notes to his kitty. We have someone very special who leads international partnerships in urban development, culture, and education, and has extensive experience coordinating international forums and city networks. Joining us on the stage as our next panelist, we have the Head of International Relations, Department of Kazan City Council, and Secretary General of the BRICS and Association of Cities and Municipalities, Russia. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Arseniy Karyakin on the stage. Big clap for the gentleman coming up on the dais as our third panelist. So our next panelist was supposed to be a part of the panel, but he's not here. He was supposed to be Mr. Shri Sanjay Mukherjee, IAS. Can we still have a clap for him in the house, as he was about to be here to share his thoughts, but he's not here at the moment. And we also have one more very interesting panelist who will join us in a few minutes, but here goes his bio. With over 34 years of experience in public administration, this individual has held several leadership roles in India and the UN as well, contributing to governance, economic development, and disaster management as well. We have with us in the house, joining us very shortly in just few more minutes, we have the Chief Economic Advisor to the CM and the CEO of Maharashtra Institution for Transformation, Shri Prakash Pardesi, will be joining us shortly. Can we still have a clap for him in the house? When he comes in, let's make sure we welcome him with more applause and cheers. So over to our moderator. Floor is all yours, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Okay. So welcome to the third session of day one on building integrated and low carbon transport infrastructure. Very important topics for today's world. Okay. And we also have very diverse panelists. Okay. So when we talk about the low carbon transport infrastructure, we are familiar that around 25% of the energy-based carbon comes from transport sector. And out of that, 3/4 comes from the road transportation. So the important points, nowadays is towards moving away from the conventional road transport. So many cities are developing various transportation, public transport system, such as BRTS, metro, in India and many other BRICS cities. Okay, so there are already lot of good examples are there, successful examples are there. We'll discuss about them. Okay. Also, the electrification, ITS, AI. Nowadays, there is autonomous and connected vehicles. Okay. So all these things, if you implement properly, definitely there is going to be impact on the carbon. Coming to the integrations, although we have different systems, for the end users, they don't care about which operator, which system. They wanted to move from point A to point B. And then it is, I think, city's responsibility that to make that journey as simple as possible. Okay. When talk about integration, it could be integration within the system. For example, Metro, Mumbai, there are multiple operators are there. Okay. How do we make the integration between different operators, or maybe inter-mode, I mean different modes. We have, again, bus, metro, local rail. How do we integrate them? Again, when you move from one metro to another metro, is it in the same building or we have to go out and then go? Okay, so those kind of integration. Then coming to the ticket, okay. So do we need to buy different tickets for different operators, or do we have integrated tickets? So these things actually are very important, although they are difficult, but from traveling experience point of view. And again, there are cities which have done a good job with that, and then we'll learn from some of those things. Okay. Again, the integration we talk about, again, there is passenger and freight. Okay. We usually don't like freight, but then nowadays with the emergence of this quick commerce, we have so many small freight vehicle everywhere. We have trucks in the cities. Okay. So how do we manage that passenger and then the freight? Okay. So that is also, hopefully we can discuss a few points. Overall, the transportation planning should be inclusive. It has to be equitable so that different stakeholders in the city, they should see that the transport infrastructure is useful to them. Okay. And of course, these days with the changing climate, we have floods, rains, and various other things. Okay. So our transport infrastructure should be climate resilient as much as possible. Okay. As I said, there are many cities which have done excellent job, and then we have expert panelists. Okay. We'll hear from them, and then we'll ask some questions towards the end. Okay. To start with, we'll have individual presentations by each member of the panelists. Okay. So they will take about 12 minutes. Okay. And after finishing, we'll have the question answer session. Okay. First, I would like to invite Ms. Bie Bihua. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. Okay. So, Vice President, Shanghai Smart City Development Institute, China. Thank you. Want to come here?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. So today, I'd like to share Shanghai's experience of building integrated low-carbon transport infrastructure. So now look at this page. I guess maybe everyone will get the common question. Why do we need better integration? So why do we need better integration? First, traditional transport systems have one major problem, separation. So transport, energy, and urban planning operate separately. Transport is designed for mobility only. Energy is built without transport integration. So all transport facilities operate independently. Parking lots, charging piles, and solar power devices are constructed without any interconnection. The data systems are also split. Roads, vehicles, and cloud platforms follow different data standards. So different government departments cannot share information, maybe I guess in real way or in real time. So the negative impacts are clear. So the negative impacts are clear. Separated planning wastes money on repeated construction. Separated facilities create more pollution. Separated data makes our work slow. So this way cannot last long. So look at the sad page. Okay, so what's the solution in Shanghai? What's the solution in Shanghai? Shanghai's solution is, so Shanghai's solution is full integration. Minor partial adjustments cannot resolve fundamental issues. Transport systems are rebuilt with integration as the core idea, centering on 3 key paths: integrated planning, integrated facilities, and integrated data. The goal is to build a green, smart, and effective transport system replicable for other cities. So, second, what do these 3 integrated paths mean? Integrated planning breaks the walls between transport, energy, and urban design. So all departments can make plans together. So let me see the Shanghai's 5th 5-year plan from 2026 to 2030 lists this integrated model as a top task. So the integrated facilities turn roads and stations into energy centers. They create, store, and control clean power at the same time. Underground tunnels and road spaces are shared. So one road or one station can serve many uses. Integrated data links cars, roads, and cloud systems. Shared cloud control platforms connect data from transport, energy, and environment teams. This helps different departments make better joint decisions. So now let's look at our latest progress. By the end of 2025, Shanghai widely used the new energy cars. Almost all city buses and online taxis run on electricity, and more clean energy powers public transport. Over 5,000 kilometers of test roads for autonomous driving have been opened, covering city centers, highways, and suburban areas. So it is one of China's best test environments. Solar power equipment is deployed in highway service areas, transport stations, and parking lots. Solar carports and solar roads are now in use. Integration of transport and clean energy cars relies on external power supply. So at major port docks, complete shore power systems have been constructed. Ships can use electricity instead of burning fuel, greatly cutting air pollution. Fourth, I will give you 2 typical examples. The typical examples will show you Shanghai's practical. So the first example, transport plus solar power. Idle space along transport lines is fully utilized to set up solar panels. Extra power can be sent to the public grid. In this way, transport facilities no longer only use energy, they also produce it. So the relevant projects cover subways, roads, buses, airports, and ports. 2 useful technologies are widely used. one system can store, charge, and send extra power back to the grid, linking transport and energy closely. The second example is zero carbon port transport. Shanghai has kept free-falling autonomous battery electric heavy-duty truck technology built for ports and logistics parks. These trucks operate on-site in the city. They reshape port logistics for safe, efficient, zero-emission cargo movement. Let's continue to talk about the truck. So this truck has full road sensors for safe driving in busy ports. It only takes 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, to change its battery, so it can run day and night with smart cloud scheduling. Using clean electricity, each truck cuts 50 tons of carbon every year. So the Lingang special area demonstrates integrated planning and data systems. Within its 25 square kilometers core zone, 86 kilometers of sensor and the 5th generation equipped smart roads are in place. A unified cloud platform connects vehicles, road facilities, and energy systems. It monitors traffic data, regulates flow, and forecasts congestion. Nearly 400 intelligent vehicles, including autonomous taxis and buses, operate on site. This system saves energy and delivers a full set of low-carbon solutions. The fifth, I want to talk about the policy and the financial support. The policy and the financial support back all this work. Shanghai's 5th five-year plan sets clear practical targets for smart green transport. We also have special plans for clean ship fuel and build more fuel stations for new marine energy. So the government offers financial support, subsidies for energy-saving transport, new electric heavy trucks, and early replacement of high-pollution diesel vehicles. We also push solar energy storage and charging companies to work together and build joint innovation areas with cities along the Yangtze River Delta for autonomous vehicles. 4 core development directions have been defined for future advancement. So first, better cross-department teamwork. Integrated concepts will be turned into official rules, linking transport, energy, and city development together. The second, deep data sharing. Full vehicle road cloud data interconnection will be realized to support smart management. The third, shared industry standards. All cities and industries can follow the same rules for integrated transport system. The fourth, long-term stable operation. The market-driven models will sustain steady long-term operation of green transporter. So to sum up, building integrated no-carbon transport infrastructure means integrating plans, facilities, data, and management. So if we stick to this integrated model, use joint planning to lead development multifunctional facilities to lay foundations and share the data to connect warnings. We will create greener, smart, and more suitable transport for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. If you have questions, maybe we'll take that later on. So now our next speaker is Ms. Mariana Batista. Okay.
Hello everyone. I'm Mariana, I'm from Brazil. I'm originally from São Paulo, but now I live in Brasília, which is the capital of Brazil. It's not Rio de Janeiro, as many people might think. So today I'll be talking to you a little bit about different projects that C40 City has around the world. We are going to see how Brazil and India are, I think, catching up with China, because it's really impressive all that you're doing. So first of all, for those who don't know, C40 City is a network of mayors of nearly 100 world-leading cities collaborating to deliver the urgent action needed right now to confront the climate crisis. So here at C40, we really believe that cities have the leadership in tackling climate change. So here's a map, so you can see how the C40 City members are spread out all over the world. With these cities, we are covering 600 million people, and almost 1 billion people if you consider the nearby cities indirectly influenced. This is very broadly how we organize our work, and I'll mention today the number 6, which is transportation. Some data here to show why transportation matters. So transport is the fastest growing sector for greenhouse gas emissions, as the number of travels keeps increasing, so we are more and more traveling. Transport is also connected to 2 key aspects. The first aspect is health, the second is economy. Health, because traffic is the #1 source of urban air pollution, which causes premature deaths and accidents. And the second is economy, because 87% of public transport trips connect riders to jobs and opportunities. Not to mention all the food supply and all the goods supply that the freight provides to our cities. A lot is being talked about electrification. I'm sure you heard about electrification before. But actually, studies show that the solution needs both electrification and mode shift. Mode shift is changing the way we move from private vehicles to more sustainable modes, such as public transport and active mobility. Therefore, here at C40, we have 3 priorities. The first one, we want to increase walking, cycling, and public transport. We also want to reduce motorized vehicles. And finally, we want to accelerate electrification of high-mileage vehicles. Very briefly, how we structure the transport work. So we have the networks and we have specific programs. The networks provide constant support to cities, while programs are more focused and with exact deliverables. I will talk about some of these programs now, focusing on Brazil and India. And I'm sorry that I'll be very short giving you the examples. My objective here is to signpost some projects that we are working in rather than going into detail because of time. For electrification of public transport, electric buses. So C40 has joined two programs. The first one is the TUMI e-bus mission, which ended last year and was a global program. The second one is Zebra. Zebra started in Latin America and has expanded to India and South Africa now. Some city examples on how cities have taken action with C40 support. So Curitiba, you probably heard of. Curitiba is the creator of the BRT model and now has the goal to electrify all its public transport by 2050. C40 supported them to test bi-articulated electric buses. And also, I would like to highlight that the city has restructured its contract with private operators in a way to improve and electrify the public transport without harming the private operator. One of the actions that Curitiba took in this restructuring was separating operation and ownership. They have a public guarantee fund and also decentralized the charging infrastructure. Now moving to Salvador. So Salvador has taken different actions to improve their public transport. For example, the deployment of BRT, which is quite new in the city. They have improved the integration between the buses and the metro, because the metro is provided by the state government and the buses by the municipal government. And you might know that this multi-level governance sometimes can be a bit tricky. They also have a public charging infrastructure, so they do not depend on the private operator to charge their electric buses. And here I would like to highlight the brilliant work they have been doing on inclusion. So the transformation of public transport is not only about technology, it's also about including people. And Salvador has been doing a great work in including more female drivers in the operation. And finally, São Paulo. São Paulo is the biggest city in Brazil and the one with the most e-buses in the country. So some highlights. The city passed a decree prohibiting operators to buy new diesel buses, forcing the deployment of cleaner vehicles. They also supported operators with an innovative subvention model, where the city covers the upfront cost of electric buses, the upfront cost difference between a diesel and electric bus. The extra cost that the city is paying is actually diluted in the long term, as the city also has to remunerate the operators as a subsidy. And because the electric buses has a lower operation cost, so this extra cost paid by the city upfront is diluted throughout the years. Moving now to electric freight. C40 is also part of a project called Lane Shift that supports the electrification of freight vehicles in both Latin America and India. So in India, the tests were conducted in the Golden Quadrilateral with one trunk, and the other test was in Bangalore-Chennai connection with 20 electric heavy-duty vehicles to show the viability of electric freight. The vehicles successfully completed 600 commercial trips, covering more than 200,000 kilometers. And in Brazil, there is a demonstration planned to be launched later this year, along with São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro corridor, the most critical corridor in Latin America in terms of logistics. Both projects in India and Brazil involved a high number of stakeholders from governments, NGOs to private sector, OEMs, and so on. Now moving to cleaner zones. So cleaner zones means interventions that improve air quality in a certain area of the city. So I'll give examples of India now. So C4 worked with Bengaluru to identify an area that can become a cleaner zone. So this is a 5 square kilometer pilot zone in central Bengaluru. The roadmap focuses on 4 pillars: restricting polluting vehicles, promoting zero-emission vehicles, strengthening active mobility, and improving public transport. This also integrates metro connectivity, bus priority lanes, and non-motorized transport infrastructure. For Chennai and Madurai, potential low-emission zones were assessed based on mobility readiness, public transport access, non-motorized networks, and electric vehicles infrastructure. In Madurai, the precinct identified integrates clean mobility with cultural and tourism needs.
Sorry, I mean, just 1 minute, okay. So the speaker has come.
Sorry.
Okay, sir.
Yes, apologies for cutting you off, ma'am, but we have our fifth panelist joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Shri Praveen Pardeshi on the stage, Chief Economic Advisor to the CM and the CEO of Maharashtra Institution for Transformation. Louder claps as we have Sir come up on the stage. Yes, ma'am, we can proceed. Thank you very much.
Sorry, thank you. Continue. Okay.
All right. So I'm moving now back to Brazil and talk and end my presentation with this program. This is the Brazil program, also known as Mutirão. This program is happening at the moment, and the idea is to accelerate the implementation of multi-level climate action across Brazilian cities. It's good to remember that Brazil has a similar structure as India, with 3 levels of government. So we have national, state, and municipality. So this program is trying to bring all these levels together. The program has different pillars, including transport. This is quite short program. It's from 12 to 15 months for tailored technical assistance, training, and peer exchanges to cities. In transport specifically, 12 projects were selected in cities all over Brazil. And then these transport projects can be separated between electrification and more general urban mobility. For electrification, we can see that some cities have already procured or are aiming at procuring electric buses. While in the active mobility side, we see projects that will improve walkability, cycling, and integration with public transport. So I'll end my presentation here. As I said, I was just posting the project. I am, of course, available if you have any questions or if you want to know more about any of the projects that I mentioned. And feel free also to email me if you want to know more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariana. Okay. Our next speaker is Mr. Arseniy Karyakin from Kazan, Russia.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to welcome everyone at our meeting today. My name is Arseniy Karyakin, and today I'm speaking not only as a representative of the Kazan City Hall, but also as the Secretary General of the BRICS Plus Association of Cities and Municipalities. This lofty mission was entrusted to me in 2025, and I would like to begin my speech with a brief introduction to our organization. The association's founding meeting took place in June 2024 in Kazan, right before the 16th BRICS summit chaired by Russia. I would like to note that the initiative to establish the association came from Kazan Mayor Ilsur Metchin. On the day of its founding, more than 200 mayors and heads of municipal associations from Brazil, China, Ethiopia, India, Iran, South Africa, the CIS, Latin America, Asia, and Africa gathered in Kazan. Our main goal is to develop practical partnership between BRICS cities and their partners, so that our joint projects directly improve the quality of life in cities and municipalities. It is crucial for us that the association becomes a vibrant platform for sharing best practice and provides a powerful impetus for the development of strategic partnership in the new era of international relations. We are not standing still. We held the first Presidium meeting in Dubai, identifying 6 key committees in relevant areas. The next important event was the Presidium working meeting in Tigran, but without a doubt, the most important milestone for us was the General Assembly in Brazil, which took place in May 2025 in Maricá. It was a truly landmark event. Thanks to the efforts of our Brazilian colleagues, the Assembly's agenda was included in the official schedule of events for Brazil's BRICS presidency, underscoring the high status of our work. This year, India assumed the BRICS presidency. In March, we held another productive meeting during the events of the All India Institute of Local Self-Government, where we not only discussed plans for 2027, but also welcomed new members. And most recently, in June, we held a working meeting in Tangier, Morocco, during the United Cities and Local Governments World Congress. I would like to express special gratitude to our partners. The association members and active partners include not only cities, but also major associations of local governments. This includes the Brazilian Association of Municipalities, the Chinese People Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries, the All-Russian Association for the Development of Local Self-Government, the Ethiopian Cities Association, the South African Local Government Association, the Asian Mayors Forum, and of course the All India Institute of Local Self-Government. Not a single event of ours would have been possible without their institutional support, and we are sincerely grateful for that. We are a young, expeditiously growing, rapidly expanding organization. For us, the participation of Indian representatives is strategically important. We are open to dialogue, collaboration, and new ideas. On the screen, you can see a QR code. By scanning it, you can access the association website and find the key information about its activities, structure, governing bodies, current projects, as well as the contact information in the joining process. We look forward to welcoming you as our members and partners. Now, let me move on to the topic of my report and tell you about Kazan's automated traffic management system, known by the acronym ASUDA in Russian. I'll also talk about Kazan's efforts to reduce harmful vehicle emission in general. In the first half of the 2000s, Kazan, like most major Russian cities, saw the emergence of spontaneous passenger transportation market. By 2005, 264 carriers were operating on the city street with more than 100.5 overlapping rows. The rate of road traffic accidents had reached a high level. The situation was exacerbated the exponential growth in motorization. In 2003, Kazan had 140,000 cars. By 2010, that number had doubled to 283,000. This trend continues today. As of 2026, more than 497,000 vehicles are registered in the city. The problem is further intensified by Kazan agglomeration-based development. Together with the neighboring districts, the agglomeration is home to about 1.8 million people, nearly half of Tatarstan's population. Every day, thousands of people enter the city by cars, placing a colossal burden on the entry highways. By 2006, it became clear building new roads is not the solution. The endless expansion of the streets and road network is impossible. The problem required a fundamentally different solution, managing the existing infrastructure in real time. Thus, Kazan embarked on a large-scale reform of transport services. The city was the first among Russian megacities to carry out a public transport reform. Outdated vehicles were replaced by a modern passenger transportation system. Key results by 2026. A unified road network has been established, linking all 4 modes of transport into a single schedule with uniform fares. The motive power has been renewed. The average age of public transport vehicles is 6 years, the youngest fleet among major Russian cities. An automated fare payment system has been introduced. The transport card has become a single payment method for all types of transport, including suburban rail. In addition, fares can be paid by bank card, phone via the MirPay app, QR code, and other methods. A network of dedicated lanes has been created. Today, Kazan has 47 streets with dedicated bus lines, allowing operational bus speeds of 21 km per hour and trolley bus speeds of 18 km per hour. One of the most important parts of the solution was the introduction of the automated traffic management system, ASUDD. The system was launched for the 2013 Summer Universiade. Initially, it covered 95 intersections with a budget of $31 million. Today, the municipal state institution automated traffic management system is one of the city's key digital centers. It's an intelligent transportation system that collects, analyzes, and makes decisions on traffic regulation to keep the city from choking in congestion. As of 2026, more than half of all intersections in Kazan are connected to ASUDD. The scale of the system is impressive. 983 traffic detectors that count flow density in real time. 356 video surveillance cameras for round-the-clock visual monitoring. 257 out of 499 traffic lights in the city operate fully in adaptive mode. The rest are in the modernization stage. 130 traffic lights are equipped with the modems for remote diagnostics and manual adjustment. Over the past 5 years, the number of connected traffic lights has grown 5-fold. How does it work? The heart of the system is located in a single dispatch center. From there, hundreds of kilometers of fiber optic line extend to peripheral equipment. At each key intersection, video and microwave traffic detectors are installed. They count vehicles every second, measure queue length, and determine the average flow speed. The system develops a strategy for entire groups of traffic lights at once. If detectors spot a dense column of cars moving along a major avenue, the green light will stay on for exactly as long as needed to clear the queue. As soon as the road clears, the cycle is shortened, giving priority to the cross streets. The entire cycle, from data collection to signal change, takes less than 5 seconds. Crucially, public transport is given priority. Buses send signals to traffic lights to extend green light or shorten red ones, helping them stay on schedule and making public transport more attractive. Reduction of harmful emissions is one of the key advantages of ASUDD. International experience shows that the implementation of adaptive traffic management system can achieve a 20-25 reduction in harmful emissions. From an environmental perspective, this works as follows. Reducing idle time in traffic jams. When a car sits with the engine running, it continues to emit carbon dioxide and fine particulates. 15 to 40% reduction in transport delays directly correlates with the reduced emission. Optimizing traffic flow, smooth traffic without sharp accelerations and braking is significantly more fuel efficient. Increasing average speed in pilot zones, average speeds increased by 18%, meaning engines operate in optimal mode rather than idling. A 20-25% reduction in emissions is Kazan's direct contribution to achieving sustainable development goals and the low carbon agenda. These results are achieved through intelligent management that makes the city more convenient for all road users. An additional factor reducing environmental impact is the renewal of the public transport with eco-friendly fuel. Today, 58% of Kazan's buses run on natural gas. АСУДД continues to develop. In 2026, another 2 intersections are planned for connection. The expansion is funded under the Federal National Project Infrastructure for Life. This system also integrates measures to improve the safety of vulnerable road users. 42 projected pedestrian crossing, voice notification for visually impaired citizens. The main goal is to connect all traffic lights in the city to the adaptive network. Plans also include creation of a unified dispatch center that will combine management of transport, parking, and traffic lights, providing integrated urban mobility management. Kazan's experience showed that intelligent traffic flow management is an effective tool for solving urban problems. АСУДД allows combating traffic jams without building new roads, reducing harmful emissions and improving the environmental situation, improving the quality of life for residents by making trips faster. Smart infrastructure is the key to a sustainable future for the city, and Kazan is following this path, combining technological innovation with a systematic approach to transport development. In conclusion, I would like to note that in recent years, Kazan has been one of the leaders among Russian cities in developing low-carbon transport infrastructure. These results have been achieved thanks to the fruitful systematic works of all city services and departments, the primary goal of which is to create a modern, safe, and comfortable environment for residents and visitors. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Arseniy Karyakin. Now we have fourth speaker. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, and sorry. Okay. So now we have our fourth speaker, Shri Praveen Pardeshi. Okay. I was told that you could talk about anything, so but I can specifically ask if you want to talk about this e-mobility or electric vehicle push from government of Maharashtra or any other initiative. Okay, please. Yes.
First, let me thank our BRICS Friendship Cities Conclave and Mumbai First for organizing this, where we can get to learn from the best practices from across the world. So hearing the example from Kazan and also from Brazil, where towns have transformed public transport in a way that makes commuting in cities both environmentally easy and also faster. I'll come straight away to Mumbai. And this is one city where, as your paper says, we have expanded public transport in a massive way because we have increased the metro transportation massively. Apart from the Metro Line 3, we have various, this is the North-South line, but we have various East-West lines, and soon it can become one of the largest metro networks in the world, upwards of 400 kilometers. Having said that, it still has one major issue, which is that the last mile connectivity is not achieved. And therefore, a lot of people, though commuting in Metro 3 is very easy, they still need the last mile commuting both from their residence and to the place of work. And for that reason, we always look at what we call BEST, our bus transport system. And like its term BEST, for many, many years, citizens of Mumbai really loved this BEST service. Now, if you look at the numbers, at one time it was taking 4.8 million people daily. And now we have fallen down to 2.3 to 2.4 million. And the amounts are falling, the numbers are falling steadily. So that's one statistic. The other statistics is, of course, the number of buses that need to operate, which should be upwards of, for something like this, for every 100 population at the rate of 1, maybe we should have something like 15,000 to 12,000 buses. but we are operating around 3,200 buses. So you can understand the stress on the fleet. So this is issue one. But that doesn't tell the full story. The annual expenditure which BEST incurs is upwards of 4,500 crores, which is roughly about, let's say, $4 billion equivalent, while the revenue is just under $2 billion. So they are incurring a loss of roughly $2 billion every year. Now, this loss can be made up in many ways. But if you look at some of the best examples, I was looking at the Moscow example also, but also, let's say, Hong Kong, which is a role model in many respects. So about 30 to 40% of the revenue of urban public transport doesn't come from ticketing. It comes from non-ticketing sources. So it could be office rentals, commercialization of the spaces which the bus services and metro services occupy, and capturing of that in a ring-fenced way to manage the city transport so that the bus fares remain stable. When I was municipal commissioner, we had roughly 2 million passengers. And in 1 month, I could double it to roughly about 4 million, 4 to 4.5 million, simply by halving the bus fares. So we brought a flat bus fare of 5 rupees, and you could double the number of commuters. If you look at the numbers in Mumbai, roughly about 4 to 4.5 million people travel by the urban rail system. Now, if we were to see that all of them need bus services, because when they get down from the railway, they need to get to their place of work, then we should have ideally 4 to 4.5 million people traveling by buses, but handling only 2.8 million means we are not able to take care of that. Now, why am I saying all of this? Because as Maharashtra Institution for Transformation, we worked with many stakeholders to create a practical and implementable transformation plan, which is not about talking and stating, goals. All of us say we want more public buses, we want 10,000 more buses, all the buses should be transitioned to electric buses. So this is just a statement. We chalked out a pathway to that. Now the pathway to that involves two big things, and which is for which, it's very good that Mumbai first brings some of the best cities in the world for people in Mumbai to understand that how some of these cities have achieved it. So the first part was that if we just look at 4 bus depots of Mumbai, then they can create a total present value of around 10,000 crores or $10 billion. And if we add another 2 of them, that creates roughly about $12 to $15 billion. So they can cover the losses. And this loss can be done without selling the land. It simply means that you are allowed for vertical development, where, like if you go to central Tokyo today, almost everybody is commuting either by underground transport or by buses. And that has happened because most of their urban transportation is highly subsidized by office rentals, mall rentals, which have been put up on top of the office spaces. Now, here's the big question for Mumbaikars. Moment we say something like this, there are a whole lot of citizens group who just say, oh, you're out to sell Mumbai lands and we are not going to allow you to privatize it. So the trade-off of that is that every time the Bombay Municipal Corporation has to provide a subsidy of 2,000 crores, which it is unable to do anymore now. That's first. But secondly, even if it was to do, what they don't realize is this subsidy is finally coming from all the taxpayers and not just the commuters, which means that somebody who never uses a bus transport, who might be a very poor person, who comes on his two-wheeler, he's also paying for this deficit. So first is a change in mindset, where we need to ring-fence the augmentation resources required for an urban transport system like BEST from sources which are non-ticketing, because ticketing nowhere in the world takes care of more than 40 or 50% of the total revenue. So having said that, then all the other things that we just talked about, we heard from Kazan about the automated, traffic management. Mumbai has actually one of the best traffic systems. It's run jointly by the police and Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Similarly, the onboard system of predicting how much traffic is there and how much you can reach. So all of these things have been tried, but all of them are cosmetic as long as we do not augment the bus fleet by 5 to 6 times and augment the annual revenues from non-ticketing. So that's like one issue where all of us need to grasp the problem. The second is a lot of innovative solutions. So even while we need roughly 7,000 to 8,000 more buses, we already have 7,000 to 8,000 buses traveling in Mumbai. But these are belonging to the various private companies who take them only for 2 trips a day to the office and back. And second is school buses and various other such fixed line. So we have talked to them that how we can change this point-to-point fixed carriage during the non-office hours and non-school hours to take ordinary bus passengers. And regulator-wise, this is possible. So that's another operation that we hope we can do. So I'll not take more time on this, but just say that learning from examples from Brazil, China, and Russia, we definitely can make about a transition. The transition requires much more than just talking about it. It requires some hard decisions. All these hard decisions, by the way, are known. I'm not talking something new, but being locked into indecisionness of not being able to use the existing assets of bus transports for creating recurring revenue is one big issue which we need to tackle through creating a consensus on this. Thank you.
So thank you very much. That was very informative, many statistics and all those things. Okay. So this was the initial part. Okay. So now what we'll do is I will ask few questions, maybe 1 or 2 questions to each of them, and then we'll open the floor for the question from the audience. So I will start with Mrs. Mariana. Okay. So you talked about Curitiba BRTS. Okay, so it's very successful. I think one of the best, and I think it started some 50 years back, and it is working. Okay. And initially there were different operators, some informal and all those things, and then the city were able to bring them into a formal thing, and then they started the BRTS. Similarly, Johannesburg BRTS also is a good success. Okay. And with your experience with C40 cities, okay, so what do you think is that that arrangement, or how it is possible to integrate them? Or you can also say if there are some examples where that was not possible, there is a failure kind of this thing. So based upon these things.
Thank you very much. So I think there are different situations and every city is very different. So the case of Curitiba was in the 70s that they implemented the BRT. So it's been there for more than 50 years now. And before implementing the BRT, they also built some organizations one organization. It was for urban planning in the city, and the other organization was to organize the public transport, to organize the buses in the city. So when the BRT came to be, these 2 very strong organizations were already there. So in terms of governance, it was much easier to implement the BRT. In Curitiba specifically, there were not informal transport at the moment, so they didn't have to deal with this stakeholder. And then you mentioned Johannesburg example. This is much more recent and a very different situation, because in Johannesburg, the people really relied on informal transport, the minibus taxis. So when they implemented the BRT, the situation was really different. They had the railway was really in really bad conditions, so people were not really using the railway anymore, so they had to come up with a BRT system, but they knew they had to to talk to the minibus taxi, the informal transport stakeholders. So I think for the the Curitiba case was the organizing of organizations, transit authorities, having this governance in place to implement the BRT. And for Johannesburg, I think it was really important to bring all the stakeholders to the table and not just having a top-down decision. They actually talked to these informal workers and they set up kind of corporations. They are kind of small companies. They were well organized together with the public sector, and they actually were offered to buy shares of the BRT. So they basically became the operators of the BRT. So they are not just scrapping the informal transport. It was really a combination of all these actors.
Okay, thank you. So one more question related to again BRTs. Okay. In India also many cities they tried, for example Pune, Indore, Ahmedabad. Little bit some success but not very much. Okay, I think and then the problem was since the city was already there and BRTs need dedicated roadway. Okay, so they could have the. Okay, so they had the successful lines along particular routes, but they couldn't expand it to the other parts, and that way the city-wide system was not developed. Okay, again, I don't know if you have any experience where the cities which are a little bit developed or there is congested and then they implemented, or any your experience in that with respect to the dedicated lanes and introducing this in congested part like that. Okay, I don't know. I mean, if you have any experience with that. Okay.
Yeah. So I think there was a moment in the history of transport that there was this boom of BRTs because of the success of Curitiba, the success of Bogota in Colombia, and other BRTs around the world. But it doesn't mean that a BRT is the best solution for every city. For example, very dense cities, for example, in India, where you have a great demand, maybe the railway, the metro is definitely the best option because you have a very high demand. Whereas in Curitiba, you cannot really build a metro. You don't have passengers enough to cover the costs. So I think this is one thing, not just copy and paste urban planning. You have to understand what works for your city. And as any other mode of transport, people will use it if it's good enough, if it has quality, if it's convenient, if it's frequent, if it's safe, if it's affordable. So it's not just deploying the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. You actually have to work with different stakeholders. You have to understand who is your BRT serving. Is there any other service that can replace it? How is it going to be integrated with first and last mile? How is it going to connect with what is around the area? What's the demand for the transport? So I'm not a specialist in the India case, but I would say maybe they're just copy and paste the BRT without looking to the details of urban planning for each city.
Yeah, I think those are very interesting, important points you mentioned. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Next, we'll move on to Mr. Arseniy Karyakin. Okay. Of course, you mentioned about ATMS in Kazan. Okay, so I have question one about that one. Before that, I would like to ask question about this digital integration efforts in Kazan. I guess your city is trying with a single ticket and one platform across operators. So of course that is actually many times better than having new infrastructure because it is convenient, also the saving of the cost. So now the question is, what are the institutional arrangements made possible? Because different operators, who owns the data, how the revenue is shared. Okay, so some, thoughts on those lines.
Thank you for your question. this solution has indeed already been implemented in Moscow. It's true. It really does simplify getting around the city. But unfortunately, in Kazan, we are still on development stage. And I will be happy to share the progress and results on the next BRICS Friendship Cities Conclave.
Okay, thank you. So one follow-up question about the ATMS you mentioned. Okay, so you talked about this emission reduction because of the ATMS that implemented in Kazan. ATMS in Kazan, about your talk. Okay, so that
Sorry, about what?
advanced traffic management system.
Yes.
ATMS, okay. So I wanted to ask, in addition to emission, okay, about the travel time, speed, do you have any statistics? Because now again in different cities of India, even in Mumbai, the existing system, they are trying to renovate it. So some idea if you give, maybe that will be useful, okay. So, and then again, the question is, when was it implemented? Is it already implemented or it is in process? Huh?
First of all, I don't have any recommendations for India, for Indian cities, because I'm not such a big expert in transport like my colleagues. I think, and also if we compare the experience of Kazan and the experience of other huge cities, we are only on the start of our path on this field. And if you ask me about the emissions, yes. So I'm sorry, I don't have details how it works, but if you're really interested in how it works, I can answer after the session, because it's, you know, it's a very complicated systems. We have, as I said, we have a huge center that we have staff that works there, and they know better than me how it works.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So thank you. Yeah, you want to.
Do you mind if I just make a small intervention? I didn't know about the Kazan case, but it's quite interesting. And one thing that's important about BRT that you highlighted is the right of way. So that means that you have a central controlling all the traffic lights. So the BRT buses, they don't really stop. They have the priority and they go. And as much as faster as they go, they don't stop much. They emit less. So probably the reductions are related to this, because then the buses don't stop much and they are faster.
Yes, I said about it in my speech. I don't want to repeat again.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. Okay. So now I'd like to have one question to Ms. Bie Bihua. Okay. Very interesting developments in Shanghai and around the area. Okay. Also about this autonomous vehicle and all those things. Okay. Can you talk about this Lean Gang coastal free trade zone that is a special area near Shanghai?
Okay, thank you. So it's my honor to introduce Lingang. I think I'm very suitable to introduce this place, because last week I moved to Lingang, Lingang special area. Yeah, for the better education for my kid. Yeah, for my kid, for my kid is 6 years old now. So I think Lingang is it next Xiong'an. You know, anybody knows Xiong'an? No. So it's a very special area, and now it has it has over about 800 square kilometers. And it is a very rapidly developing new area in Shanghai. Like the Shanghai is very important in Hebei province. And the Lingang special area is very famous on his infrastructure and his very special policy in it.
Okay, thank you. And then you also talk about this connected autonomous vehicle. Any other specific initiative, unique things? And then you can talk about Lingang. Okay.
Okay, so I want to see the first the government, the government announced a series of the policies such as the digital transformation policy to support the vehicles enterprises. The autonomous vehicles can't go on the road unless they get a license. They get a license from the government. And so the third, I should say, the government opens over 500 kilometers of public roads for testing. More than 20 companies and nearly 400 vehicles can use this road. And the government also offer industry and finance to support the vehicles. According the drive on the old about the amount. So by the way, I should talk about our institute. I come from Shanghai Smart City Development Institute. So we serve the government to carry out the policy and the industrial research. And so we also will help the Lingang special area to find the excellent programmers and to let them to confirm whether they will succeed us to or support them.
Thank you very much. So now I have a couple of questions to Sri Praveen Pardeshi. Okay. Again, I believe you work on different projects. Okay, I will ask you a couple of questions. Okay, I don't know whether you are related to that or not. One is about the Mumbai Patal Ganga road projects, underground tunnel projects. Okay, I don't know if you are you have some idea on that. Okay.
Dealing with that right now. You can ask me back on urban transport, not on the specific underground tunnel.
Okay. So yeah. So now again, then about the BST. Okay. Yeah, you talked about, you gave very good statistics and all those things. So the electrification of BST buses. Okay. So that maybe what is the plan, or what do you think should be done, or where we are? For example, in some cities, we're discussing about this Shenzhen in China. They electrified some 17,000 buses. Okay, so this thing by 2017. Okay, so for example, here in Mumbai or nearby cities. Okay, so where we are, and then what do you think we should do? Okay.
Mumbai is also going in for a rapid electrification, with charging infrastructure being located within the bus depots. As I talked about, that it needs a huge capital infusion. So what I had started was that we, instead of directly investing, taking buses on wet lease, which is also like the model in London, but then you need a ring-fenced account to pay for the use of that. But that is happening fast. The other issue about BEST is that we need a slightly different model to the model that we have been taught. I really like the question you asked, Mariana, about BRT. So I was there in Pune also, and BRT doesn't work there, though we implemented it. And all the time I used to think we should actually stop the traffic from getting into the the BRT lanes. And many people come and advised me same about BEST. But what you just said, actually, after so many years, opened my mind that BRT is not really the right answer for very dense cities where you have continuous openings on the road. BRT works well where you have a right of way non-stop for a long time and where you can give some priority on crossings, but not where you have a continuous access to the road as we have in Indian cities. So there, the metro system with maybe some elevated metro, that works best. So going back to the electrification, there is a government policy which both gives subsidy and also subsidy for charging stations.
Okay. Thank you very much.